Eleni, Yolanda, and Mariana, the olive tree throuple. Today, our throuple lives in Italy, so we are expanding our community across borders. Ladies, welcome to the studio. If you would like
Thank
to,
you.
welcome. If you please like to introduce yourselves and tell us your throuple love story.
Yes, of course. I am Yolanda.
And I am Mariana.
And Eleni. I come from Mexico.
Yes, I do too.
And I'm from Italy. And we ended up here, like living the three of us, like here in Italy, of course, because we were born here. And yeah, about our love story, we can say a lot of things. Well, we have been together for 1 year and a half.
Yes, we have been in the throuple configuration for 1.5 years now. And initially, Yolanda and I used to be a couple originally, and we were together for about 6 years. And one day, we met through mutual friends. We met Eleni, and it was really, really like this. There was this great connection from the very beginning, and we just started hanging out with all three with each other. We realized all the things that we had in common, and we just couldn't stop seeing each other ever since. And a couple of weeks later, we had to start talking about like, okay, what are we going to do about this? Because we had this big connection, and we knew that we had to do something about it, and that's how we decided to enter the throuple.
And none of you had ever been in a polyamorous or non-monogamous relationship prior to that, is that correct?
No. Well, I mean, me, no.
Yeah, no. I mean, I had different types of relationships, maybe more like open relationships, but I wouldn't call it polyamory. I think this has been the first time, like my first approach to polyamory.
Right.
Yeah, and for me, for instance, also like, it's interesting because like, like for me, it was also like, I don't know, like how to go about it, because it's like, I have been like in open relationships, but like, I think that like for me, and I consider like also like in society, it has been like very like new, like the concept, like to call it like polyamory. But then like when I like started like reading and listening to things and like consuming like information about it, like I realized that maybe like relationships that I have had in the past were like polyamorous, but yes. So I started like to reflect in my past life, and but also like I consider myself that I had like a very like open like relationships, and also like very monogamous relationships. But like when Mariana and I, we were like dating, we were like open-minded, but we were not like in an open relationship. And then like everything like just happened, and it was like an adventure and like an interesting journey, and like a very like new thing like for the three of us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Was it hard for you to transition from like monogamous mindset to just being the three of you?
Well,
I mean, it's a rhetorical question because it is hard. So how hard was it for you?
Or maybe just what changes did you have to intentionally make, to overcome some of those things that just naturally come along with a monogamous relationship?
Yeah, I think for me, it was the moment I realized, because as we said, Yolanda and I had been a couple. So the moment I realized, okay, I feel in love with Eleni, and I think she is in love with Eleni too. And I think that is also, it's mutual, in both ways. I just thought, okay, we need to do something here. Maybe there's the hard part is that there is no script for it, right? And we don't really, like, we grow up with this like ingrained monogamy, and all these things that you hear as a kid, and then you just think that you have to to replicate what
Right.
everybody else does, which is be in a monogamous heterosexual relationship. So yeah, I just realized, okay, like it looks like we have to get out of the box here in a way, and I think it was hard for all three, definitely, because it was also like a very new thing, and,
Right.
And I don't, but I mean, I didn't know anybody who had been in
Exactly. That's what I wanted to say. You didn't have examples. That's the whole purpose of our podcast, to provide examples and community for other people like yourselves when you start on this journey, and seeing that you're not alone. You're not crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Yeah, exactly. But
yeah, everyone's story is unique, but there's so many similarities, and it's awesome to like share these stories, and then people comment like, "Oh my gosh, we were the same way in this area."
yeah, and of course, and also I think it's like very interesting that I think that the more you talk about this, like the more you discover that there are like a lot of people like you. And also because, for instance, we were talking, the three of us, like yesterday about like, yeah, about the relationship, about like discussing like things about the podcast, and we were excited. And yeah, I was like telling them that actually like I did have like my best friend like at the time when I was like 20 years old. And he started, like my best friend, he started to be in a throuple with two other guys. And he would tell me like everything, and to me it was just like, oh wow, this is like very like interesting. And I remember we were obsessed also like with the movie Vicky Cristina Barcelona.
I love that movie. I made them watch it.
Exactly. So for us it was like, okay, everything about it, and like talking about it, and like to me it was like just like very interesting, but it had never like happened to me. But at the same time, I remember that yesterday when we were talking, I was like, oh yeah, we were like making fun of that because she was like saying, oh, you decreted? How do you say that?
Like you wished that.
Yeah, wished that. Like, because I told them like, oh yeah, and actually I remember that. I told my friend at that time, I was like, oh yeah, I would love to explore something like that, right? And then like, boom, in the future, my life, it's now in a throuple.
It just happened. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I was not looking for it, but like I have been like very open to experiences.
Right. It wasn't something like, that was completely turning you off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
No, but it's great. I think it's just so exciting to find representation, like whether it's a movie, or like maybe even like a Netflix series, like in something has like the slightest representation of a throuple. It's always thrilling.
Yes.
And have you found anything that was a positive reflection of being in a throuple in the media?
Maybe not yet.
Yeah, we're all hopeful. But...
Not in like exactly. I think, or at least nothing that is not superficial, right?
Like even Vicky Cristina Barcelona, they end up not staying in the throuple. Yeah. I feel like
no, actually, yeah. There's this movie that I love. Movie that we saw, that Dr. Mart.
I knew you were going to say that.
That's my favorite movie. I know.
Yeah, it's an amazing movie. It's just like it's crazy. It's incredible. I think it has like a it's not Dr. Mart, and I don't remember.
And the best part about it, it's a true story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Just like you were saying, the first time I saw it, it was not even a thought in my mind that I would ever be a part of a throuple or that was something I wanted. But I was watching the movie and I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a beautiful story, beautiful family. And my heart broke for them for having to live in hiding and, not being able to like be their true selves, even with their biological children and everything. It was
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. How do you ladies feel like, so you don't live in the US, so society in Italy where you live, I'm sure is different than here. How do you feel that you're being treated by the outside world? How do people perceive you when you're out in public?
Well, for me, I've always felt very entitled to what I was going through. So from the very beginning, I just presented it like anything else I've ever been in. I would like to underline that had never been my thought to be in a throuple. I just couldn't resist it once I met these two, but it had never occurred to me. I was actually scared about the polyamory realm. It just had never crossed my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then this happened, and the way I went about it was just the most just spontaneous thing. I talked about them to my family immediately. I told all my friends, everybody else, and I think in a way the way I presented it to people kind of shaped the way they responded.
Mm-hmm.
So all of my friends, all of my family just dealt with it like it was the most common thing ever.
Awesome.
I never encountered a barrier, me personally.
Right.
So I honestly feel treated like, just like I was before.
Just normal.
When I was in monogamous relationships. Yeah, me personally, yes.
Yeah.
Very normalized.
Yeah.
No, I think in general it has been that way, especially with friends, like the friend circle, except for maybe a couple of people, or like maybe one in particular.
There's always one or two.
That one. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Like I don't get it, and it's like, well, there's nothing you need to get, really.
I'm not asking you to get it. I'm just announcing you. This is what it is. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And how about people that you don't know, like outside when you go out to dinner, and if you have any public displays of affection, and do you feel any weird behavior from people?
I haven't felt that way.
Me neither, but I mean, I think like here in Italy, because like we have been living here for years, like I have felt the same way also, like even before. Not like observed, but that's like normality here in Italy for me.
Yes.
Like to be like observed, like
Just stare.
even though you are just like walking.
Right.
So if you kiss like one of your partners, it's also like a thing. If you're three, like for me, it's not because you are three. It's because like for me, I perceive like the culture. It's like that they stare at you, at people, at everything.
Yes.
So yeah, it's like that. But we haven't been the three of us in Mexico, so we haven't been in a different environment to experience like what it's like, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I'm from Europe as well. And you're right. Europeans do have a tendency to stare.
Yeah. Just stare, yeah.
Yes.
And what do you normally do for fun? What are your normal activities? Like all three of you.
Well, we love to play music together.
Okay.
We actually have a group, and we play Mexican music.
Yeah.
Mainly. So we have converted Eleni to Mexican music and Mexican culture.
Yeah. We have our own band. That's a pretty interesting thing. I mean, we are like, she's a singer, she's an actress, so we are into art. I come from a musical background, so it's also been our career, and it is for them too. But we do, that's one thing that we do. We're very artistically involved. We do a lot of projects about that, for example. But
yes, and it's also a great way to spend time together. And
because it's work. Exactly. So
so whenever we're preparing for a show, then we have to rehearse coming up to it. So yeah, it's always fun. Also a little stressful sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
I was going to ask, what is that like working together as a throuple? We do that as well.
Oh yeah. I think in general, working with partners has a level of complexity.
You call it that diplomatically speaking.
Yeah. So yes, so there have been.
But also like this, I think it's like very interesting because like, for instance, like Mariana and I, we've been together like since we have been together. So it's been like working in the relationship. So we're very used to that. And then when we met Chappie, we call her that, new name, Eleni. I like also like to me, my joke with her was like, oh, so you're a musician, and then I was like pushing her, like, okay, sign the contract. Okay, we're gonna.
I joined the band before I actually joined the throuple.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
true.
So it was funny. Mariana was like,
I was forced. Yes.
Yeah.
forcing her to work. Like,
Yeah.
and then like she started working also like with us. She like finally joined the band,
Mhm.
and but it's like very interesting like for me because also like me like in the music part. For instance, I am an actress and I became a musician. I come from like a theater field, and Mariana, she's like a very like she's a soprano. She's an opera singer, so she's
Oh,
like
so
very, like,
interesting.
technical. Exactly, and also like she studied like that. So it's like they both are like very professional in that. I am a musician, but like I come from the practical
Right.
part, right? I'm not like theoretical. And Chappie actually, she was like the glue there, like in that kind of like
Nice.
work when we were rehearsing, because like sometimes Marianne and I we had like some like not like arguments like you, but like this kind of things that Mariana like have been like
Right,
looking
you
at
could-
things
you
like
can
in a
agree
very
on.
theoretical way.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was like, okay, I know it was your mistake, but I don't have the tools to explain you in your language, like why, but I just feel it. And Maria, so we like,
Right.
it was like our like forces like fighting against like to explain. But when Chappie like started like working with us, I think actually like it was like something great because also like she understands
Right.
because also like even though she's like very like technical, she's very practical. She like plays things by ear and she can like do things like randomly.
Do you
And
feel
Maria
that?
needs, like, to
Do you feel that maybe she does the same thing for your relationship as well? Does it apply to the relationship as well, to the throuple relationship?
good question.
That's a good question because
I think it depends.
we have
like,
maybe from the beginning we have always thought of yes, the throuple as a whole, but we have always thought that we have like 4 different relationships.
That's
So-
right. Okay.
So especially from the beginning, Chappie Eleni has to like get to know 2 new people. So we tried to really work on allowing that, right? Like having our 2 like 1-to-1 time, so
Right.
that each set of pairs could work on their relationship as well as like the whole relationship. So I think in that regard, we maybe like if for each set of 2, the third one does
Right.
give some kind of like
Yeah.
input
Some
or
balance.
like help or some balance.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
true.
Yeah,
'Cause I
we feel the
bad.
same way. Yeah, many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, like anything,
Yeah.
even an argument, or even when we want to do something together. Like, well, it's the third person. We always say like it's the referee, or like somebody that kind of balances everything out.
For me, that was especially interesting because I used to take some things very personally, and now that I have 2 relationships, I no longer I can't do that because okay, I see how the person maybe in that moment I'm having an issue with has the same kind of behavior with the other person, and so I see the other person how she reacts, and so it gives me inspiration as to okay, how could I go about it differently? Why was I taking that personally? That is more about the other person, how she is dealing with things. Why was I taking it personally? And what is a new way to look at it?
That is very
For me, it was
beautiful.
very enlightening, and it brought me to questioning myself a lot more in terms of that.
I love
So,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
so it's
it
not
is-
only just having somebody looking on your relationship, but you also looking on the other relationships, and you learn from it. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
So
that's interesting.
as a whole, would you say that being in a throuple has helped you personally become a better partner? I think I already know the answer to this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Was that just
And also a better human being. I would like
There
go
you go.
more like I perceive life like in a very different like way, and also like about like other people.
Right.
Yes, no, but I think that it kind of compels you to maybe look at other people's feelings before yours, maybe even more than being with just one person, right? Because there are two people that you have to look out for, and that you have to be close to and understanding with.
That's
so
right.
I think that
it's like a mirror.
Yeah. Good point.
Did you guys just have to trailblaze along the way, or were you able to find any resources that you found helpful?
I think both. I find, I mean, I don't know if you guys agree, but I find that most resources are like directed to polyamory, but in different settings, right?
Yes.
Or like maybe a couple, and then it becomes an open relationship, or like just different settings.
Josh was just talking about that recently, how you do find some resources regarding to polyamory, but not that many to throuples, like to teach you how to be a throuple.
Exactly. So we have kind of like we have tried to like take some like bits and pieces from that and maybe apply it to our own reality.
Yeah,
that's right. I have a question now. Do you think that it was difficult to transition from the couple mindset to the throuple mindset when it comes to like spending time together, or you don't live together, right? Currently.
That is correct.
Yes.
They do. I don't.
Right. So, right. Yeah, I meant all three of you. So you don't.
Exactly. We don't live together yet.
Is there anything that you do together, like that is like a household related, that is different now as a throuple than it was as a couple, or living alone, or?
Yeah,
like any changes?
I think it is a current struggle, or it is still a work in progress. Like, yes, we did, for example, for a while, we did do groceries together. Yeah, right. And we tried, but it was still doing like the groceries for two different households.
Okay, so that's hard.
And yes, and no, it is something that we have struggled to look at ourselves and also like to appear, to like also our surrounding world and like with the other people,
right?
Like, to sometimes it's like it's just a matter of reminding them, like, okay, like,
we are a unit.
We're not a couple. We are a unit. Exactly.
Yes.
There's three of us now, and and especially people who know you from before. But I imagine like all transitions take that as well. Like, or like, I don't know. For example, if I were to maybe change my identity or like identify with different pronouns, maybe to people it would take a while. For people, it would take a while to remember that, or like to be consistent with that.
Yeah,
and that's something we have found. But yes,
but people are so fast to admit to see a couple when a couple just gets formed to notice it and take it as it is. But when they see a throuple, they just don't know how to wrap their mind around the whole concept.
Exactly. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, you see them sitting there trying to figure out who, like for us, who's he with? Which one of them? We're love sitting there watching them, their head, smoke coming out of their ears.
Yeah, sure. Plus, there are also like two dogs that we have been like acquiring through the years.
Now, I have for you ladies my usual question. I ask all the throuples: when you sleep together, who sleeps in the middle, or do you swap? Do you take turns?
We definitely swap.
Yeah, but mostly it's you.
Okay.
I think mostly.
I mean, it's not.
It's you.
Yeah, well, that's a thing. It's not a very. It doesn't happen a lot. That's the thing. So it's hard to really answer that question. But it depends. There's not one person.
So the biggest problem with the person for me, because I'm the one who sleeps in the middle most of the time with us, I don't know where to put my things. Like I have a water bottle and I have my phone and I have everything. There's no side table. There's nothing. And I end up with them under my pillow. What do you do? Any tips? Where do you keep your stuff?
Yeah, under the pillow. Yeah, like under the pillow. I used to keep a closed water bottle
Mhm.
like behind, like
Right.
against the wall.
Mhm.
When it was my turn.
Yeah.
Sleep in the middle.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
right.
And just forget your needs, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, also motivating you.
Just
Because she goes in the middle, and then like we're just like on top of her, and she cannot even like walk with like nothing.
Yeah, I've asked like pretty much everyone, right, that we had on the show, and I realized that most people have most couples have like a ledge behind
Yeah,
them,
a shelf,
like a
window
window
sill,
or a
something.
shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have that because we have this ginormous velvet
Velvet backings and-
yeah. So, boo.
Oops.
I'd say.
What is your favorite thing about being a throuple?
Probably have 3 different answers to that.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it is the sense of big family that I have now, in terms of what I'm building, not where I'm coming from.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like we're a team. There's a lot of movement that I personally was not used to, not to this extent. Also, probably it comes from all the activities that are going on, but so specifically to us 3. But yeah, to me, it's the sense of family, of belonging to a family with multiple people and being dogs also. Yeah.
For me, I think it's like the artistic and the creative part, because the 3 of us were like very different, and we come from like different backgrounds. And when we play music, like the 3 of us, like we do like very different things, and it's like it's not the same if it's Mariana and I, or if it's like she and I, or if it's just like me. Like when I'm like with them, like for me it's like, oh my god, this is like amazing. Or also like the creative process, because also like I like also like Mariana and I will work a lot like in like the performance thing, like acting or like playing music in some concerts. But with Chappie, like I have been like creating a lot, like working like in the process of writing, and we get along, like we connect like amazingly. And also like the sense of humor we have, it's like okay. And then like when we translate on my shows or plays or something, it's like okay, you do understand this, so we do it, and then like I perform that with Mariana, or vice versa. So like for me it's like something I like, because it's like we're like very different, and I'm like very creative. So like for me it's like to have like both. For me it's just like great.
And I think my favorite part is to see both the persons I love each other.
Mhm.
I think that is quite unique, and I do feel very lucky to have that, because I think that even if in a different setting of polyamory, I could have a partner be in love with another partner, and maybe I would be able to feel compersion, even if I don't share that or that feeling for that person, and same like another partner with another partner. But just to see like those 2 people love each other so much and get through difficult times, and be there for each other, and just like see them laugh. Like to me, that is priceless.
That's awesome.
That's
I love it.
beautiful. Yes, I love it.
That reminds me of a question I wanted to ask earlier. When Mariana and Yolanda, when you both were experiencing feelings for Eleni, was there any difficult conversation, or how did you bring it up to each other? Was it just like, was it just matter of fact, or was it hard? Or
I remember bringing it up like in the most like natural way. I remember like not fearing bringing it up, and I remember the moment we were listening to a song that Eleni had sent us, and we both started crying.
And looking at her videos playing.
Yes, and we were watching like some videos that she had sent us, like of herself playing, and we were both crying all of a sudden. And that's when I asked her. I was like, "Are you in love?" And she said yes. And then she asked me, "Are you in love?" And I said yes, I am.
wow,
That's
And,
so nice. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a great story.
And we were happy about it.
I didn't know I was such a good musician, you know?
Laying on the bed, watching like Chappie's videos, like and it was like I remember always like that moment like very beautiful. Because also like the realization, because also like that connected us, like Mariana and I, because it was not like, oh, like mad at each other. Actually, like it was like a different connection for us, like to understand, to have like sympathy, like for the other one, and then like to allowing ourselves like to feel this and to discover, and also like to make a step to be like, okay, let's see.
That's beautiful.
Did you find you had to change up your communication styles, which you went from being a couple to being a throuple?
I think we had to improve it, but maybe I feel that in general, like I had to improve it because maybe something that I would get away with two partners, you just don't. Like you have to be resourceful and improve your communication skills. Otherwise, it does get even more difficult than it already is.
Do you have any tips for other throuples who also don't live together under the same roof, as far as, because I know there's all this talk about couples privilege, and some of that stuff is just, it's inescapable when you don't all live under the same roof. So do you have any tips for kind of mitigating the effects of that?
Yeah, no, I think it is difficult. I think we all agree that it's been really difficult. And if you all find some tips, please do send them.
Okay. That is our struggle. That is our main struggle. So I don't think we're in a place
I totally get that. Yeah. It's hard enough when we live together. It's like you told them, but you didn't tell me.
That also happens. No, and one thing from my side, so the one living by herself, is you need to trust. Like, I go back to trust. Now that it's been a year and a half, so it's not, that new. I feel like I have grown the trust that it was a process for me. And so now the balance is something that really is a matter of, communication and spending the time and making the time, but also it doesn't have to be equal at all times because there are two houses in this case. But if you trust a relationship and if you trust that you can talk about things and what you need, and they also, in this case, can talk about what they need and what the commitments are, so not everything can be balanced all the time in terms of how much time we're saying here or there, then you'll figure it out. Maybe that's the only thing from my side that I can say.
Yeah, no, and we also add the fact that, for example, I spend a lot of time away because of work, and like I was just away for 2.5 months, and I'll be going away for another 2.5 months again.
Right.
And so in that way, it is hard to be like, okay, it has to be like equal balance, but maybe there are other things that do balance it. And also I've come to the realization that it really is about like the quality of the time more than like the amount of time that counts. Yeah. But it is definitely
especially when you build it. Yeah. Then eventually we'll be all in the same house probably. And then,
so that's a plan in the future to live together, all three of you.
Yes. We think it'll be easier, right? Like,
we'll
have other struggles.
But I mean, so far when we are all three, it's good. So
yes. Absolutely.
So you guys mentioned already that this relationship, the throuple relationship, caught you guys off guard, and it was just kind of whirlwind. Let's go into this. But for those out there who are already either a single or a couple that are looking at what we all have and going, wow, I would really love that. Do you guys have any tips for those people? Like what to do ahead of time, things that you wish you had known ahead of time before getting into the throuple relationship?
Like, to me, I think it would be like always to think about like communication and like talking, and like never like to keep like things to yourself, because like you need like to be like more open. You need like to express more, and also like I don't know, like then it's like to try to keep like an open mind, mindset, and to receive information.
Yeah, and also kind of to let it happen. I mean, I don't think I don't know if it would be that possible to make it make a throuple happen. Like for me, at least, it happened. I embraced it. I don't know how it would have been.
Yeah, like for example, I've thought since the beginning that I think this happened kind of like not in a random way, you know, but without us really looking for it. And I doubt that it would happen again, because I just think it is rare in fact that it would, that all the circumstances would be there for it to happen. So I also think that it would be hard to look for it. But if you are, again, compelled to doing it, I think, yes, the best piece of advice would be to keep an open mind and to keep communication open, like and like express yourself in every possible way, because I think we have all found out that it is when we don't talk, when we don't express, when we're going through, is when we get into trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, the resentment builds up and then you end up arguing. Yep. So I have another question. Since you don't live together and then there's traveling involved, so do you have any envy on the other two, for one of you, that the other two people are spending more time together when you're not around? Does that ever happen to you? And how do you deal with it?
That has happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that has happened. Yeah. It was like,
How do you normally deal with it? Do you like communicate it? Obviously, like, do you talk about it, or like what's a quick, easy tip that you can give to our listeners and viewers?
Quick and easy. I don't believe I have a quick and easy.
I know.
But definitely communicating it has helped.
I think, like, for instance, like, also, like, what I have learned about all this, also, it's like to analyze myself in everything I do and the way I think, the way I go about things. And also, this is related to that. It's like I have learned so far that when some things happen like that, I like look inside and it's like, okay, why I feel this way? And I have to talk a lot with myself before like realizing, okay, instead of just like, oh yeah, what's going on? Why, like, I'm not there? Like, no, it's like, okay, think why, like, truly, and then like express it. But also, like, of course, like, you need a lot of trust and like this environment of like embracing, so you can express like how you feel, because also like we have like made some mistakes of like expressing something and receiving in the wrong way. So of course, like, it's difficult and it can be like tricky, but then we have learned like, okay, like to like to acknowledge your feelings and how and why you feel this way, even though I wouldn't be that way. It's like, okay, to embrace that, and it's like to acknowledge, okay, this is happening to you. Okay.
Yeah,
because
let's talk about
like, we tend to, oh no, but you. So yeah, exactly. And you can talk about it, and it's like, it's very different like approach of these things.
Yeah, that's great advice.
No, I think for me, more than envy, what I have experienced the most has been anxiety for being with one or the other.
Okay.
And also, like, yes, since we do struggle with balancing things out, yes, that has been, I think, one of the biggest problems for me, just to maybe deal with the anxiety or like even the guilt, you know, of like maybe not being able to balance things out.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah, there is we talk about it sometimes, the polyguilt, when either you feel like you're getting too much time with the partner and the other one is not getting, and you feel guilty about it. That's definitely a real problem.
Yeah, it's a good term to point.
Thank you so much, ladies. This has been a great talk.
Thank you.
If you like our episodes, don't forget to subscribe and share them with people just like yourselves.
Connect with us on the Throuple Talks Connection Hub on Facebook. You can talk to all kinds of throuples there. Get a community built for all the throuples.
And we'll see you next time.